This is my recap of the day one of the Donna Adelson trial. My knowledge of this case going in is definitely more than the jurors, but most likely far less than you. So for me, a lot of this information is new and fresh, just like it will be for the jurors. Now, I'm not only writing down a synopsis of what I saw, but also my thoughts as I went through it, as this information is presented to me. So to begin with, the state is up for opening arguments. Donna Adelson was part of a conspiracy to hire a hitman to kill her former son-in-law. The connections to the hitman were Donna Adelson's son, whose girlfriend had connections to the type of people that would do a hit. All right, crime tip. I guess we're doing crime tips. I did that in a previous video. I'm like, why would you make this mistake? The more people you have in a conspiracy, the more likely things are to leak. It gets even worse if it's a chain. If you have a chain where people don't have a loyalty to someone higher up the chain, it makes it much easier for them to flip. It's just simple common sense, and they didn't know that. Dan Markel was shot in the head in broad daylight in the driveway of his home. This was after he took his two young children to school and went to work out that morning. Immediately, I'm having flashbacks of Brandon Boudreaux, very similar to the planned hit on him. So, I mean, they know the routine. That's immediately my thought is this is someone who knows the routine. They know what he's going to be doing. Now, he was followed by two hitmen actually that entire day. A neighbor saw a vehicle speed away, and the neighbor found Dan Markel with a gun wound to the head. Sorry, not a shotgun wound. He did survive at first, and he died at the hospital. Now, two focuses by police were the motive. Who would hate this man enough to do this? And who drove the vehicle? Both paths led to Donna. They led to Donna. Investigating his personal life, they found a nasty divorce with his ex-wife, Wendy Adelson, the daughter of Donna Adelson. Wendy wanted to take the children to Miami, and Dan was against it because he works in Tallahassee. Donna hated Dan. Donna was controlling of her children. Strong opinions about Wendy Adelson's career, relationships, purchasing a home. If Wendy wouldn't do what Donna wanted, she would enlist Charlie Adelson to solve the problem by persuading Wendy. And immediately, Charlie starts mixing with I start thinking back to the Lori Vallow case and her brother and how he was the strong man and he's the solver. Are we going to have a similar situation? That's where my mind went. Donna was desperate to relocate Wendy and her children. Told her, you deserve so much more than a life without family, teaching in Tallahassee. She also said, make sure your attorney understands you will not be held hostage in Tallahassee. You do not have to be a prisoner in Tallahassee to accomplish this. And when I am reading these texts, by the way, I read them in Sarah Boone's voice because I've not heard Donna speak, and this seems like something that maybe Sarah would say. It also, everything I've seen before previously with Donna Adelson makes me think of like a Lori or a Sarah Boone that got to old age before getting caught committing murder. Not saying that something didn't happen before, but, you know, got away with it longer. It sounds interesting how similar these cases really are in a lot of ways. Donna was editing documents Wendy and her lawyer filed in court. Very Boone-esque. Donna was telling Wendy's attorneys what arguments to use. Very Boone-esque. We've seen that. She guilt-tripped about having to visit Tallahassee, and they were losing income traveling. So, in Wendy's divorce, the biggest loser, the one with the most complaints, was Donna. She made it all about her, and everything revolves around Donna. Donna said, the most important part of your divorce is relocation. I sincerely hope your attorney understands that that is your non-negotiable. And again, remember, Sarah Boone had fights about relocation while incarcerated. Going to be spending the rest of her life in prison. Everyone knew that but her, and she was fighting relocation of her child still. The judge ruled with Dan Markel and dismissed it in a way that they couldn't be requested for relocation again. So Dan Markel went to court, won. You're not getting that relocation, Donna. The only way she can get that relocation is if something happens to Dan. After losing in court, Donna told Wendy that Dan Markel hasn't beaten the Adelson family yet. They are going to win. Donna suggested a $1 million bribe. Donna suggested threats and to make Dan Markel miserable. Dan Markel was Jewish, so Donna came up with the idea to take pictures of his children outside a Catholic church and to post it on social media that they're getting baptized. Donna told Wendy, "You need to put on the performance of your life." Donna said it didn't matter if Wendy had to dress her children in Nazi or SS uniforms as long as it showed Dan Markel wasn't in charge. Donna claimed the entire family's life depended on Wendy's boys being able to relocate. Donna said she would never, 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 never give up. Now, Donna and her son, the fixer, it seems, talked multiple times a day, every day, and she would vent about Dan Markel in life or death terms. Dan Markel was portrayed as a crazy person. Donna made it her son, Charlie Adelson's problem to solve. Even though the divorce was finalized, both sides kept filing violations, and that continued until Dan Markel's death. Dan Markel said his children were telling him how Donna was calling him stupid in front of them. Donna told the kids that Dan was taking them away from her. Dan filed in court to prevent Donna from having unsupervised contact with his children, and this motion in court was still pending when he was killed. Killing Dan means having access to her grandchildren would never be a problem. 48 hours after the shooting, Wendy and the kids moved into Donna Adelson's home and started school down the street. The father erased from their lives. This makes me think about how quickly Lori moved on. The Adelsons were a tight-knit family. Their work surrounded a dental office. Donna ran the office, the homes, and the lives of her family. When Wendy was interviewed by police, it was confirmed she was home having her TV fixed at the time of the murder. When asked if she knew anyone with a motive, Wendy Adelson said her family. I mean, I want to know what Wendy knew at this point, right? It is possible, entirely possible, Wendy could have been aware, I guess we'll find out during the trial, of what Donna was doing, and had the idea that I can take care of my overbearing mother and family as well. She said her parents had more reason to hate him than anyone. She called her parents to let them know he was shot, and after getting off the phone, Wendy told police they acted surprised, so that's a relief. When asked if someone might have killed him or on her behalf, she said her brother, the little fixer. Her brother joked about hiring a hitman to kill him as a divorce present, and instead he bought her a TV. The same TV that was the alibi the morning of the murder. A repair appointment that was set up by Wendy's parents, Harvey and Donna Adelson. So now a lot of questions. Are we going to find out if this TV was actually broken? Was it purposefully broken? I mean, that could be part of a plot. And any way it goes, we have the TV connected to the brother. We have the call connected to Donna. The path led to the Adelsons, but now they got to talk about the vehicle, the one that fled the scene. In fact, it actually followed Dan the whole morning. That exact car was tracked down. But who was in it? And I'm going to butcher these names. They found Sigfredo Garcia and Luis Rivera. Their phones left Miami 2 days before the murder, followed Dan, turned the phones off during the murder, then turned them back on heading to Miami. That's basically a confession when it comes to phone terms. Like, you just did, like, no normal person's doing that, right? Then a bank camera caught them in the car in Miami, so they're dead to rights. The connection to the Adelsons is Donna Adelson's son, who joked about hiring a hitman. Okay, but that's just a joke, right? Well, there's a woman that he dated at one point and had frequent contact with. The woman was dating Charlie Adelson and was the father of one of the two men. One of the hitmen. Father of her children. They also followed the money. And the months after the murder, both of the alleged hitmen bought motorcycles. Charlie Adelson's girlfriend got new tits and a Lexus. And the Lexus previously belonged to a member of the Adelson family. There was no bank withdrawals matching these purchases. Huge cash spikes were going into the girlfriend's bank account after the murder while she was unemployed. Donna even added the girlfriend to the payroll at the dental office. She was given a check every 2 weeks, but she didn't work there. 2 years worth of checks signed by Donna Adelson. They found a pattern. Donna called Charlie. Charlie called his girlfriend. Girlfriend called the shooter that was the father of her children. Also, that same pattern went in reverse, but only in that order or in reverse. They insulated themselves. Again, you're adding people, you're making a chain, someone just has to flip. An undercover operation was started, and police got authorized to listen in real time to calls in the middle using a wiretap. Almost 2 years after Charlie Adelson and his girlfriend broke up, she's back with the hitman, but they are still friends with Charlie and in communication. One of the hitmen was in prison on an unrelated charge. They had all moved on, so they had no reason to discuss the murder. So the wiretap's not going to be useful. Police needed to stage an event. They went with someone posing as a contact to the hitman in the prison, walk up to Donna on the street, and try to blackmail her for money. And they have a photo of it. Donna was handed a newspaper article about Dan Markel's murder, and written on it was a phone number and an amount of $5,000. He told Donna he knows the defendants are taking care of Katie, the ex-girlfriend, so he wants more out of it. He even says Charlie Adelson's name. Oh, no, he never said Charlie Adelson's name. Excuse me. So this guy comes up. Make sure I'm saying this right. Comes up to Donna. News article about Dan. Phone number, $5,000, mentions the ex-girlfriend. Donna doesn't even look at the paper, puts it in her purse, and walks away. Calls Charlie. Never mentioned, but she calls him. Remember, we have an order they follow. She doesn't call the ex. She contacts Charlie. Tells Charlie they need to talk about paperwork. It involves the two of them. She tells Charlie he should bring cash to the meeting, and the TV is about 5. Oh man, my bullshit detector's going off. Like, you're telling me you used a TV as an alibi, and you're using it in your code? Lock her up, right? Donna tells Charlie the man who approached her mentioned an ex-girlfriend. Donna never says which one, and trust me, Charlie has had many since her as well. Charlie never asked which girlfriend. They knew the TV is probably 5 was blackmail about Dan Markel's murder, where the TV was an alibi. And he only had one ex that he used to get a hitman. After this, Charlie calls the ex-girlfriend. Not his most recent one or the one before that, but the one with the connection to the hitman. This was the only call. They hadn't dated for about 1.5 years at that point, and this attempted blackmail was then never reported to police. You can tell they are careful of what they are saying because law enforcement might be behind the bump and wiretapping might be happening. Then Charlie meets with Donna Adelson in person, and she gives Charlie the paperwork. Charlie and his ex meet in a restaurant. An undercover officer records them. You can hear the discussion about it. About, is this the police? Is this real blackmail? If it's blackmail, is it actually someone with inside information about Donna Adelson's role in the murder? Charlie thinks if it is the police, that's actually a good thing. Then the police don't have enough evidence. Charlie says, if they had any evidence, we have been already gone to the airport. Foreshadowing. No arrests had been made in this case, and the only thing released to the public was a photo of a light-colored Prius. The police knew who was in the Prius, but the public didn't. He starts giving the ex statements about rental cars, using a crime scene, DNA in a car can't prove a crime. You have to be able to put the person at the scene at the time of the crime. Charlie says crimes are hard to prove unless they are caught doing it, confess, or caught on a wiretap talking about the crime. He begins explaining how blackmail works. If you report to the police, the blackmailer might start talking to the police. You can pay him and let him know it's a one-time thing. Charlie told her to call the blackmailer and say, my friends don't know what you're talking about, which should be the Adelsons, but they'll give you the money as charity. But don't contact them again. Charlie said he would give her the money, but was worried that the blackmailer would come back, so Charlie suggests paying to have the blackmailer killed. Remember, he's saying this in front of an undercover cop, recorded. He says, if they fuck with my family, it's gonna be like fucking Nazi shit. I don't care what I spend. The Adelsons really like to talk about Nazis and dressing the grandkids up as Nazis. A lot of references to Nazis, I must say. Just pops out to me. I wonder if we'll get any more Nazi references as this goes on. The ex asks for the money, and he says he will take care of her. Oh, so she has to be paid. And he says he'll take care of her, and remember, she's on salary at the office. Now, Charlie then calls Donna, because remember, they only go in one way, tell her everything is good using code words. Then the ex calls the hitman to task him with finding the blackmailer. Later you will hear them talk in code. Both of the hitmen were arrested. One cut a deal with police and told police he was recruited to kill Dan Markel. It was a job, and the ex was able to get for him. They had a picture and some notes. Afterwards, they called the ex to let her know it was done, and they were told they were going to get their money the next day. And then, I will say, in court, the camera shifts to Donna Adelson, and she's basically doing this. Looks like she's saying yes to all of this. Great body language. The money they got paid is also really interesting. It was in stacks of thousands with $100 bills stapled together for each $1,000. That seems stupid and like a really easy way to have your money traced. Then the ex was arrested. The Adelson family had a lot of access to cash because they did a cash discount and they kept it in stacks. Then they kept it in a safe. Charlie Adelson's friend said he would keep his money in $1,000 stacks stapled together. You know, just like the hitman got paid in. Garcia, one of the hitmen, has been convicted. And then in 2022, Charlie Adelson was indicted. His ex was convicted. During the ex's trial, she claimed no knowledge of the murder, and the Adelsons must have went around her. And the state's case was correct, except she wasn't involved. After her conviction, she admitted she was the connection and testified then in Charlie Adelson's trial. She said Charlie wanted someone to kill his sister's ex because his mom was stressed out. Charlie painted a picture that Dan Markel was a terrible person. She said she went to get the money from Charlie. He said his parents were just there. Phone evidence proves that. She said the money was stapled, but also wet. Charlie said it was damp because Donna Adelson had literally washed the money. Criminal mastermind here. Charlie claimed the others did it without the Adelsons' involvement and extorted the Adelsons. So basically, Charlie's defense was, no, that whole group down the chain, they did it without us knowing and then tried to extort us, and Charlie got convicted. Within hours of Charlie being convicted, Donna was planning to leave to a non-extradition country. You know, kind of like Charlie referenced before would be the plan. Donna applied for an emergency visa to Vietnam, talked to putting money into trust. Her and her husband bought one-way tickets. They got stopped on the jetway, and Donna was arrested. After Donna was charged, law enforcement received information from women who said Donna was offering them money for false testimony in this very trial. She offered them money, housing, veneers, prescription drugs if they said the ex told them a different story about the crime. One informant even gave law enforcement a script written by Donna. State then goes and overviews what we heard and then says you'll find her guilty as charged. Donna looks almost in tears. And this is literally like, how is she not just dead to rights? You know what I mean? Like, she is so guilty, it seems like already. The state has put on, if they're telling the truth, an amazing case so far. Everything leads to Donna. They screwed up with the phones. They screwed up with their contacts. They screwed up with the wiretapping. They screwed up with an undercover cop. Multiple convictions already. If you're sitting on this jury, no evidence has been presented and you can't come up to a determination yet. But if you're on that jury, you are very, very interested in the overview, I think. I think you have a good picture of what the state's going to say. I think they did a great job there, but we have more to see. A correction. I think maybe the woman nodding along was actually Donna's lawyer. There was a long break since I watched that part, and during that time I realized that maybe that was her, and I just wasn't thinking clearly at the time. I'm going to mention it here in case I was wrong. Sure, someone will let me know in the comments whether I misremembered or not. It does make sense that Donna's lawyer would be nodding along because they are just kind of admitting to most of it. The defense is up. She said, remember, state goes first, but defense needs to be heard too. You heard a lot about why Donna has a motive. You heard a lot about what other people did, but no evidence Donna planned this, hired anyone, or planned this to happen. Each element of the offenses have to have evidence. Never stop thinking about why we are here. 2 men killed Danny Markel. Don't forget Danny. He had 2 degrees. He was a professor with students. He traveled often. He had to be proud of what he achieved. Absolutely not the start I would go with when your client is accused of murdering the man. Wouldn't go that direction, gonna be honest. Wendy was married to Danny. Danny cared most about his little boys. When Wendy moved out, Danny didn't want a divorce. They argued during the divorce. The divorce had ended and no relocation was decided before the killing. They're trying to, the way they're like emphasizing this is like, well, there was no relocation decided before he was killed, as if that would be a reason he wouldn't be killed. Danny wanted as much time as possible with his children. He loved being with his children. He Skyped his children when he couldn't see them in person, read them bedtime stories. Their father was brutally taken from them. Donna would set up the Skypes. Now, Donna is a normal person, just like all of us. Donna went to work every morning and late into the evening, a normal person. She is kind, caring, loving. Gotta say, if you're ever telling me, listen, they're normal. They're a normal person. They put their pants on the same as everyone else. I'm going to immediately go, something's wrong with them, right? I don't know. Maybe that's a me thing. The state can prove some of the things they were talking about, and they show a chart basically with the flow of the money and the guns. They go through the same assassination story we heard from the state. Basically the same thing. Focuses on the exact man who shot him. The state can prove that, but they aren't on trial. The state can prove the ex-girlfriends of Charles set it up and paid them. And you will see them prove it was Charlie's money that went to the ex-girlfriend, not from Donna. So, as I said, they are just basically admitting to every step of the crime except Donna's involvement. They tell the story Donna did this and that story then makes money in the media. It is outrageous they put Donna at the head of this conspiracy without evidence. Charlie told Donna to put his ex on the payroll, and you will find out why. There won't be evidence that Donna did this crime. Now, here's the thing, right? I don't know why complaining about the media is a thing when the jury was selected with, I'm assuming, people that didn't know about it, right? Like, I don't know. This whole defense team just boggles my mind, to be honest. It kind of reminds me in ways, and I'm going to make this reference, I'm sure, a lot if I keep following this. It reminds me of how it felt like the Sarah Boone law team was being led a little bit by Sarah, that maybe Donna is go this direction and it's not really working. The state calls their first witness, and I want to say I will be severely shortening down the testimony in my notes to make it more digestible, but also my middle fingers on both hands have been killing me now for a couple weeks. I don't think I flip people off enough for that to be the reason that it's hurting, but it's happening, so I'm just going to try to save my hands as much as possible. James Geiger is up first. He is the neighbor of Danny. Him and his wife heard a loud bang the day of the killing, and they saw the Prius. Photos of his house in view, it's shown. He thought maybe a burglary, but went over and saw the garage open, the car running, and thought that, nothing's wrong. But then, later, he still hadn't left, so he walked into the garage and saw the window shattered and saw a bloody head moving, and he had to go home because he forgot his phone. Personal issue I have with generally older people. They never keep their phones within arm's reach. And every time the defense is, well, I don't always need it on me. Yes, you do. Just, you do. In case of an emergency, you do. Um, just personal complaint. But he went home and got his phone and then called 911. It was all more than 5 minutes, but less than 10. Photos of the car in the garage. He knew Danny and Wendy. They weren't particularly close, but he'd seen them over the years. They were at a housewarming party. He knew of the divorce. He couldn't tell who was in the Prius, and they played the 911 call. The fence does not cross him. David Sims, retired sergeant, is up, who responded to the scene first on the scene. He saw the driver's side window was broken, found Danny gasping for air, cell phone in one hand and business card in the other. He was on a call. He never said anything. Danny didn't, and they show crime scene photos. Again, defense does not cross. Joanne Maltese is up next. She is a retired forensic specialist. She collected evidence at the scene, showed it was like eyeglasses, no fingerprints were sent for analysis. They show how they collected the wallet. It had cash in it. Did not appear to be a break-in. Wendy's vehicle was towed and examined. There was a bottle of alcohol with a receipt in the passenger seat. Really wondering if that comes into play. The witness also went to the hospital and took photos of Dan. Donna was making like a crying face during this. Again, defense does not cross. Anthony J. Clark is up, medical examiner. He conducted the autopsy. Photos are submitted. There is an approach. The jury is taken out. They come back, and the x-rays of the injuries are shown where you can see the bullets, 2 bullets in his head, photos including his face, which obviously wasn't shown online. You can see pseudo-stippling from the glass hitting his face. Second bullet shot had actual stippling, and the stippling makes it appear the victim actually raised his arm in defense. Second shot was to the forehead, and it was the killing blow. Donna is appearing to be consoled at the defense table during this. They're like rubbing her back. Ew. Danny died of homicide. Again, the defense doesn't cross, and we go to lunch break. We come back, and it's a discussion about statements to Donna, making statements about Danny. State says, how do I want to word this? It's kind of weird. Basically, there are emails where Donna's complaining, and the defense is claiming it's complaints about Danny's family, not about Danny. And there's a fight about it. That Donna wanted the children with her family, not with Danny or his family. Statements by Wendy will probably clear this up. The state is explaining how it goes to motive. The judge says a lot of the email isn't relevant, but it does tie into other evidence. It will be permitted to show defendant had a consistent animus to the defendant. Defense is saying this isn't directed at Danny. This is about the boys being brought to see the defendant instead of going to visit them in Tallahassee. The judge makes it clear that this all should have been in pretrial motions. That's going to be a continuous thing. The state says that removing Danny from the family's lives has always been the state's motive that they were going with. The judge has actually precluded the state from talking about visitation with the grandparents, but obviously that's always been part of the state's theory. It's important to show the animus started way back, and this is the oldest exhibit of it. So basically, this was part of more showing a pattern of hatred, right? The judge says it will be permitted to show that. The defense wants a limiting instruction, but is at a loss of what that would even be. Which is, the defense, I'm going to be honest, the defense just seems incompetent to me. That's my takeaway from today. Long story short, I think you'll agree by the end if you haven't watched. If you watched, I think you'll probably agree. The defense saying this isn't a statement against Danny, but his parents. And I say incompetent because it's not like they're, like, obviously you're going to make arguments for your client, but they're making, like, we want a limiting instruction. Okay, what do you want it to be? They don't have one. That's not good. Next is another email. It's a list of possible love interests for Wendy. Yes, Donna is finding matchmaking for Wendy. She's being a matchmaker. Donna likes to control her children, including who they date and marry. All of this is outside the presence of the jury, by the way. This is discussions about what's going to be allowed. Sounds like Donna was running a Match.com account for Wendy. Wendy can be asked about Donna choosing her love interest, but the judge questions if it's hearsay. Defense says this is just bashing Donna and doesn't prove their case. Judge says this goes to motive. I think it also goes to, the personality type we're dealing with here. There is more about her controlling love interests and having Charlie get involved, and it's going to be allowed. Next, we got more discussions. Is something about Donna saying a judge is a Southern black lady in an email. That'll just go great with the Nazi references, I'm sure, from her and her son. State doesn't know why it needs to be redacted, and the defense is saying it doesn't go into motive. 2 jurors are African Americans, so it's going to be redacted. And at this point, I looked up the reference. Is it public? And I found it. So, about pretending to have the children convert to Catholicism, this was put in an email. There were multiple donations from, this is about the judge. There were multiple donations from her church pastors and ministers on her financial contributions. She's a Southern black lady. How do you know it won't be music to her ears to hear this? So, Donna here is, in the opening statement, they're saying that she tried to bribe people to give false testimony. And here, it seems like she is investigating the lawyer in the family case to then try to use her religion and, I guess, race to manipulate her. I mean, I get why the defense is worried. This was prejudiced jurors, but we already have it being brought up that she wanted the children to be in SS uniforms. So I don't know how much redacting this will matter, but it is redacted. Email about Wendy moving from a more secure location to a less secure location. So this is just, again, we don't have the full context. I think they're fighting over it's going to be allowed. It will develop over the trial, but it's to prove there wasn't fear for Wendy's safety. Because apparently that's something the defense is going to try. Defense says it wasn't less secure. The judge reads an instruction from last trial and found this all admissible. The judge is not happy this is coming up now instead of pre-trial. The defense claims they just got it and the original binder was a mess and missing things. We have more. Next, the defense says they have a problem with an exhibit about a child being sad. The state says it's an email where Donna says the child cannot be sad about the death of his father. It's extremely relevant. State says this goes to motive and state of mind. Defense says it is Donna saying they aren't sad, not that Donna says they can't be sad. It's allowed, just got to make foundation. Another element added due to mention of Skype in the defense's opening statement. I think it's a possible jury instruction. Now we have Wendy to Donna instructing Donna to do Skype calls with a schedule that she got from Danny. State says Donna didn't do it, and there were issues of the Skype calls actually not happening. State wants it admitted because of what the defense said at opening. At opening, the defense said that Donna set these up. It was actually a plan by Danny, and she wasn't doing it. The judge says it will need its foundation, but yeah, it can come in. And then finally, the jury is back. Surely we're not going to have any more issues. A stipulation is read about projectiles being from the same revolver. The state calls Craig Ipsum. He's a retired police officer. Dan lived for about 11 hours after being shot. Wendy was approached at a restaurant on the day of the shooting. He said he needed to speak to her and was wearing a badge. He told her something happened with her ex-husband, but her children were not involved. She wasn't being treated as a suspect. She got a victim advocate, and she could use her phone during the interview. They submit all of the filings in a divorce case, lots of files, including arguments over things as petty as a tennis racket. Divorce filings directly connected to Donna Adelson, and they're trying to be submitted. Now there's an approach. This is a long one, and the witnesses and the jury leave. So they're like, hey, Donna was involved in the divorce case. We want to submit that, and now we've got whatever's happening now. The judge says he's considering sending the jury home because they are wasting a ton of time for things already litigated or should have been handled outside of court. Judge tells him to make his objection now. Defense claims after dissolution there is no proof of Donna's involvement. The judge says he heard this argument already and it was ruled on. If it takes multiple witnesses to lay foundation, it will be allowed and your objection is noted. What else? The judge says we need to go through, if we need to go through every state exhibit before leaving here, we will do so no matter how long it takes, but we won't be wasting the jurors' time. Defense asked if they will be establishing connection between multiple witnesses. State says she wasn't planning to go through every page with this witness due to no objection, but she can. It'll take time to prepare. The state says they complied with the court's ruling and wants to move on. They can continue, but it won't be admitted until foundation is tied up later, and this is all going to be brought up. Retired police officer is now back up and he showed emails. A search warrant was used on Donna's Gmail account. Dan sent an email to Wendy and it was forwarded to Donna. This was related to the grandma motion. Objection, lack of relevance, hearsay, overruled. Witness is asked if Donna responded to the email. Defense objects again and the jury is taken out and the investigator leaves. We are having a hell of a day. The judge says not to sound like a broken record, but mentioned if the jury needs to go home, they can work through these issues. Will there be more challenges like this? Defense says Donna and her husband both share an email address. State says this will be tied up with Wendy Adelson. So basically the state's saying, look, Wendy will prove it's Donna, so we'll just deal with it then. Judge tells him to find anything else in the exhibit they might object to. The other exhibits for the witnesses are shared. Detectives and the jurors are brought in. Hopefully we're done, right? Review the divorce documents and emails. Dan had a motion filed in the court to restrict Donna Adelson's access to the children. It was pending at the time of his death. The content of that motion was sent from Wendy to Donna's email. Dan doesn't want Donna to be alone with the children because the children are saying Grandma says you're stupid or that she hates you. Donna called Dan names. An email to Wendy called Dan Elvis, asshole. He couldn't find him calling him an asshole, but knew he was called an asshole. Another email calling Dan a major fucker. Another email. Donna is pushing for Wendy to relocate, how important it is to Donna. 5 days after relocation is denied, Donna plots another way to relocate the children. Donna suggests the children pretend to attend a Catholic church and take pictures to send to Dan, and Donna suggested $1 million bribe. Dan had life insurance policies. One for $2 million, another for $60,000. The kids would get $4,500 a month after his death, which would go to Wendy Adelson. So plenty of money in case of his death. Now is Jim's surveillance footage. The suspect vehicle follows him and leaves after he leaves. Bus video showing it. They explain identifying details of the vehicle, phone data analysis. They match it to a rental. They find who rented it, and the listing is a brother. They trace it back to the two involved in the hit. Very quick, really, how they just tied it all together. Took a while, obviously, for them to really find it, but once the pieces were there, it's a very quick story. They showed phone numbers and their connections. Later, he learned Catherine was the mother of one of the one of the shooter's children, and dated Charlie Adelson. So now we have a connection. Before the murder, she worked, but afterwards she got money from the Adelson dental business. Catherine was not in the dental business records at first. Later, they got a list of checks paid to Catherine after dealing with lawyers. No W-2 or what her job was. The person working the desk didn't know who she was. Another employee knew the name, but not if she did a job there. Donna signed all the checks. This witness was present when the ex-girlfriend of Charlie was arrested. He began to answer about talking to her lawyer, and defense objects to relevance. It was overruled. He told Catherine's lawyer if she wants to cooperate, she can let the detective know. Less than 20 minutes later, Charlie's attorney contacted him and said if Charlie was arrested to contact him. So they arrest Catherine. He talks to Catherine's lawyer, and less than 20 minutes, Charlie's lawyer, unprompted, is contacting this detective. How did he get the number? How did he know what was going on? Yeah. Objection, sustained partly. Next is up is Charlie. Next call. Basically, they get to repeat. The next call was from Charlie's lawyer. Okay? But not what they talked about, I guess. Finally, getting a cross-examination by the defense. Let's see how this goes. Because obviously, the objections aren't working. Detective got phone records early on. He knew the area Donna lived. Witness made connections to Charlie, the shooters, the ex-girlfriend. He said he didn't make contacts for Donna Adelson's toll records, didn't contact for road construction records, didn't ask about accident records. Honestly, he's like, I didn't do that. I don't know if if it's like a defense strategy, if they're fishing, I don't know. Donna and her husband share an email address. He doesn't remember if Wendy said they did. Donna insulted Dan, but didn't directly say she hated him. Just called him a major fucker, you know. The children were 3 and 4 at the time. The defense asked if instead of a bribe, it might have been allowed, an allowed common thing to make a decision on where the children would stay with money. Donna didn't get Danny's life insurance or pension. Wendy didn't take the kids to that Catholic school or dress them as Nazis, as Donna suggested. They didn't say the Nazi part, but didn't dress them up. I wouldn't even mention the dress up part. You're reminding them, right? He doesn't know what records other employees at the dental office had on them. He received a call from a man saying he was Charlie Adelson's attorney. It was shocking to the witness because the only way Charlie's attorney could even know to contact him would be if the ex's attorney contacted Charlie's attorney. It was a very short time frame. There was no media. Donna's attorney didn't contact him, though. Talk of the grandmother motion and it being very plain. They show an email to Wendy that is from Donna's email, but says it's from her husband. Another, the same way, another email, repair order for the TV, love Dad. Geek Squad asking if they could possibly do a quicker repair time if it's available, and they said sure. So the defense's whole thing is, well, the husband also uses the email, right? But State's back up. State shows emails signed Mom, including those about the relocation being the most important thing in the divorce. Another email signed Mom and Dad. No more questions. He might be recalled. Obviously, this is going to end up with Wendy saying they always signed their emails who it was from. And or saying, hey, I knew about this. We also had a phone call verifying it was Mom. Something like that. I guarantee it. The state wants clarification at this point. Are they going to go through every single page previously discussed? Defense now says they only have objections to some. Questions if the objections are all pleadings or select pleadings. And then the defense is like, I didn't understand the question. And it's just a mess. And then they bring in Luis Rivera, one of the people involved in the hit, and then the jurors. He has been convicted for this murder. 5 total felonies. Incarcerated right now. He pled guilty to second-degree murder, 19 years concurrent with his other federal sentence. He cooperated by telling on his co-defendant. He did a recording proffer. He was hired to participate in this murder. Childhood friend enlisted him. He was enlisted by Katie and the childhood friend was enlisted by Katie, but he doesn't know who enlisted Katie. The purpose of the murder was Wendy wanted the kids. He heard of a dentist involved, Charlie, Katie's side piece. He never spoke to the Adelson family. He doesn't know about the Adelson family. He was to be paid $35,000 for his part. He thought Garcia was going to get $40,000. It was a one-time payment. He didn't know anything about the man he went to kill. They had a picture of his face and an address. They showed a photo of him with Garcia. He came to Tallahassee twice related to this case. Second time was when they did the actual murder. At the time of the murder, Katie was with Charlie and Garcia. Everyone's fucking everyone in this case. I'm sorry. They rented a car for both trips and had a photo of the victim for both trips. They drove around to find out where he lived. They wanted to, scope it out. They brought a gun with them on the first trip and the second, obviously. They followed the victim to a daycare on the first trip. They didn't want to murder him in front of his kids, and they actually lost him on that trip. They came back to finish the job. Second trip, they rented a hotel room. He only remembers one gun on the second trip, and in fact, they accidentally fired a shot through the floorboard in the car on the way home, and it hit the gas line. It amazes me, like, in every murder case, how everyone's incompetent. They met up with a guy who helped them fix the car. They saw Danny drop his kids off to go to the gym. They followed him. They were told to do the murder that day because Dan was going to travel. He didn't know who Wendy was at the time, but knew it was to get kids for a lady. Garcia shot him twice. Luis didn't want to be the shooter, so Garcia did it. The gun was thrown into the ocean. They show him at an ATM. Garcia called Katie after the murder. They got the money the next day. Katie called him because she couldn't get a hold of Garcia. Garcia was with another woman who goes by the name of Shrimp. So Katie is with both Charlie and Garcia is with Shrimp. He wasn't there when Katie got the money. It was cash stapled in bundles of 1,000. He hadn't seen stapled money like that before. Definitely make sure your murder payments are identifiable, right? They bought motorcycles. A witness identified voices on a recorded call. He didn't know where Charlie lived, didn't know Charlie was paying him, didn't know Charlie had a safe of money. If he knew, all of that, he would have just robbed Charlie for the money. Told Garcia they could rob the person with the money, but Garcia said that wasn't a good idea. Defense is up. First trip, they followed Dan and lost him. Second trip, they didn't lose him. He was killed at his house. He told Wendy he wanted him killed because he wanted her children. When he talked to the defense, he asked to put a number 1 next to Katie, and he did. It was like a card with like photos. He put a 1 next to Katie. He put a 2 next to the person who did the killing, Garcia. Put a 3 next to himself. He got the gun and drove. Put a number 4 next to the who was to be killed, Dan. Number 5 next to who wanted him killed, and they put the number next to Wendy. He said he didn't know that Donna or Harvey Adelson were involved. There's no redirect. There's approach. The jury is in recess, and they just kind of go through what was admitted today to hopefully not have issues. The defense and the state will be early on Monday to try to work through whatever the hell they're arguing about, and then they're going to be in with the jury. I expect their arguing to take longer than they expect because the defense doesn't seem to know what they want to argue about either. They have a weekend to figure it out, I guess. So, that is the day 1 update. Currently, I'm planning to do updates on the other days if nothing changes. As I said, my hands have been hurting. I think I did a good job spacing this out so they don't kill me. Did get the video out a little later due to that. I will say, following this case on the 29th, I'm going to have something I have to do. So, most likely any coverage will not happen that day. I just will be busy. So, we'll see. But I am kind of hooked. I'm honestly kind of hooked, partly because I want to see how bad the defense is, in my opinion. It's where I'm at. I'm at the point of how bad can this defense get? That's where I'm at. As I said, I came in not knowing a lot of stuff other people know, and I am just floored with how this is going. If you like the content, like, comment, subscribe. I'll put the buy me a coffee link in the pinned comment if you want to do that. And see you in the next video. This is a mess. This is a mess. I'm excited for Monday, partly because I feel like this judge is going to blow up on the defense. I feel it.